players I've talked to said that when you hit the ground, you could hear it. I mean, the throwing shoulder is a mess. You know, grunting to get off the mat, basically. So it was one hand tied behind their back, maybe. Nonetheless, Michigan was clearly highly focused on this game. Call that credit to Michigan State. When you've lost 8 out of the last 10, guess what? It's a red-letter game.
Right. And as it should be. It should be every year for both programs. And I think that, look, as much as we want to talk about what happened on the field, and if we have time, we'll get to it, but I feel like it's almost secondary because, look, there was a beatdown, no doubt about it. Michigan owned that game, but you guys said something interesting when we were walking onto the set. You guys felt a little uncomfortable there still. Why couldn't Michigan seemingly pull away earlier in that game when, I mean, the numbers showed it, the time of possession showed it, the ability to move, when Michigan State didn't convert a third down. I mean, this whole first half, and it was a 7-point game.
They had, you know, the yardage, the time of possession, blah, 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 all looked very much on Michigan's side. But, man, it was 7-7, and even at 14-7 after the DPJ long reception, of course. That game, I thought, was in the balance to the very end, even with Lombardi in. Rocky Lombardi. If Michigan's going to lose another crazy game, that's the guy.
Right.
Rocky Lombardi off the bench, yes, yes. Even that, they were pushing it. Look, they scored, they're on the 20-yard line or so. They punched that one in. Onside kick, you got a game, man.
Devin, speak for the Michigan fans, because I know a few, and every single one of them kind of sat on their hands. Very anxious, very nervous. We've seen this script before, and it's one of the reasons that I flopped on my pick, and I ended up picking Michigan State before the game after I'd picked Michigan to win earlier in the week, only because the script was feeding right into what we've seen again and again and again. And
see that frame behind you?
I do remember trouble with the snap, but this game, it never felt like it was ever in jeopardy for Michigan, but at the same time, we've seen the crazy things, and I think, speak for the fan base here at large, because I think a lot of people were sitting on their hands until the clock went 0-0-0-0.
Literally until it went 0-0-0-0. Maybe one more zero after that, right? And I think not only because of the history, but because of the type of rivalry this is, it's so hard to just say it's over, especially when something like that happens. You know what I mean? And I think that for myself, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other fans, you know, we saw that things can turn bad for us in a matter of seconds, not even minutes, a matter of seconds, right? And there's one key play in the game where we saw Grant Perry completely pull an interception out of a guy's hands, which could have completely turned the landscape of this game, right? And so it's things like that that you can't really plan for. And yeah, 0-0's a lot better than you know, trying to. I try so hard because, you know, because you're a Sparty and Michigan and the rivalry, and you want to get the upper hand, you want to talk some smack, but it's like, just shut up, because the last time you tried that, there's a framed picture at the Sportscave.
Yeah, that is right there. Everybody remembers how they felt that day. And I think that because Michigan State went in Ann Arbor last year and got the victory when Michigan had, again, hopes of doing something more with their season, taken away from them, that's what led to the jubilant celebration. I believe Dave Abloff said this is the first time in a long time they've celebrated with Paul Bunyan at Spartan Stadium outward. I know 2 years ago when they won there, they took it into their own locker room and didn't do the parade on the field, but this one took a turn.
A little history on that one. Trophy starts in 1953 with Soapy Williams, the governor. And Michigan at first said, if we win it, we're not going to even take it. Now, of course, they lost that game anyway, so it made no difference. When they did win it, they would not even get it engraved. So the whole thing was basically an insult towards the trophy. For the first time ever in the history of this trophy, now whatever, 65 years, Michigan celebrated on any field, Michigan State or Ann Arbor, which tells you what, no matter what else you think about the before and after and so on, Michigan clearly embraces and values the rivalry, I think, in ways that maybe they never have before. And again, you lose 8 out of 10, it becomes a lot more valuable. But this, I think this rivalry in some ways is at a peak. It's getting national attention now it never got before. And no one can say it doesn't matter. That's crazy.
I said on this show when I first took over in 2014, when Michigan was at a very low point, I said, I want them to be better. I want Michigan State to be better. This should be a top 10 matchup, or a ranked matchup, at least as it was this year, every single year. Why? Because it makes the state better. It makes the rivalry better. It makes the Big Ten better. It just, the trickle-down effect of this rivalry being as good as it's ever been is great. That being said, Did you guys have an issue with what happened in the pregame?
Here we go.
Yeah, because this is what people are talking about.
Something happened in the pregame?
Something happened in the pregame, Devin. Did you
might have eclipsed the game itself.
Devin Bush went on an absolute tirade.
He's got a great name.
He does have a good one. Right down on the Spartan head at midfield, scuffing up the whole turf and whatnot. I saw that, and without context, mind you, I was getting in late to East Lansing, didn't know exactly what had happened. I'm going, what is this guy doing? Why is he doing this when for so long you've been trying to, you know, win it back, and then you go and do, what did you take from that?
Yeah, so I think this differed from what happened in 2014 that I did not agree with, the smashing of the stake in their field. I think this differed a great deal, and for many different reasons, but I think Devin Bush has been a guy that's proven to back it up, one. And I think he talked after the game about how he just got the emotions of everything kind of got the hold of him, right? And this is, we lose to Michigan State, and then you have a whole year to think about it, and it builds up, and then guys are saying, yeah, we've been here before where you guys have been good. We've not been that good, and we still beat you, right? And so that accompanied with clothesline, we didn't move, whatever, right? It just all boiled up, and then trying to show pride for his team and everything like that. I think that he kind of lost his emotions, and I think it's better for the future of the rivalry because of it.
Almost certainly. By the way, that thing's going to play for a decade.
It is.
I think it just replaced Mike Hart.
Well,
maybe not.
That's to the point. I teased earlier in the show.
Pretty sizable, right?
I have to show you exactly what Chase Winovich said so you can hear it in full context from him first, because he's been very outspoken, and this is one of the guys, he's one of my favorite players on the team, not only because of how he plays with tenacity and anger, but he's very sound, but he's also a great guy off the field, raising money for the Chad Tuff Foundation last year, doing things in the community, always saying that he wants to be a Michigan man. Then he goes out and says this.
Sometimes your little brother starts acting up, and you just got to put him in place.
And with that, little brother is reborn. I mean, can that just go to bed yet? I'm tired of the little brother big thing.
Yeah, so for me, that's not going to have the effect on the rivalry like the Mike Hart. It's been done. You're like a repeat offender. It's not going to take that kind of, you know, toll on the rivalry. And I think it was kind of a reach, you know, very emotional, just still kind of tired from running around, you know, parading around.
You can hear it in his mouth,
right.
I mean, his breath.
And I think that, you know, that's something that he really wanted to get out, right? He really wanted to get that out. And uncalled for, yeah, maybe, but I think it was more of a reach than anything. And I don't think it didn't do anything for me.
Do you think that both head coaches played to their bases when Harbaugh after the game called Michigan State's action beforehand Bush League? And then Mark D'Antonio said that's BS.
Check.
Is it just, I mean, is this the check, or I mean the chess move? The pieces are continuing to move in the rivalry.
Yeah, and what Jim did say, I was in the press conference for that, he did say that apparently, because his source was Dave Abloff, Jim himself, of course, was in the coach's room, so he was secondhand. But his point was that D'Antonio was part of this march across, etc. D'Antonio says BS. It does. There are photos and video, of course, that do indicate that he was there. So
kind of giggling just a tad. Just
honestly,
a smirk here
all
there.
the stuff, honestly, is much ado about nothing. The whole thing is much ado about nothing. It feeds the rivalry. And look, it's a rivalry, man. I mean, how well you'd have to get along at some point.
I mean, stuff like this is important, you know, because if it not have been for the Mike Hart, you know, little brother comment, would this rivalry have changed? Like, would they have something to always draw from for motivation at every point and every turn, right? And so we were dominating the rivalry for the most part. And now, for 10 straight years, because of Mike Hart, the whole rivalry has changed. And now it's an actual rivalry, and it's getting respected around the country.
When's the last time a team's won 2 straight in this besides Michigan State? A couple of times, because I feel like they've won a couple, 2 or 3, then Michigan won it, like over the last 10 years. I don't know if it's been 8 or 10.
A 4-year run is almost unheard of.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've been back and forth the last 4 years.
And no one is better, by the way, no one is better at taking 2- and 3-star players and turning them into Big Ten champions than Antonio. No one's also better than taking whatever else is out there and using that as fuel for his team. He's phenomenal. He should be sending Mike Hart thank you notes 8 out of 10 years.
I'm going to track him down.
And by the way,
Mike Hart
at some point, the Michigan State fan base has to stop being mad at Mike Hart and start thanking Mike Hart. And send him candy and what other snacks he likes. I
don't know. What's he up to these days?
By the way, he's also a very nice guy.
He's
a phenomenal guy.
I have heard through sources that over the years he has wished he would have maybe not said
I've heard that as well. I've heard that from him.
But at the same time, I think I'm with you, lockstep. The rivalry has never been in a better place. Look, it gets out of hand on social media because fans want to be fans, and
it does.
They're going to pick
People
their side.
People are so mean on the internet.
Oh, they're so mean on the internet.
So mean. I've given out so many hugs on the internet. Here's a hug.
Here I am wearing a
and where's the love?
on my show.
You get a hug. You get a hug. Everybody gets a hug.
All right, we want to hear from you out there now. Send some hugs, maybe. Use the hashtag 7Sportscave. I'll get to your tweets later on in the show. Coming up next, though, got to talk about those Lions. All of a sudden, maybe we're talking about playoffs. Playoffs?
Playoffs.
Slow down over there.
We'll talk about that next on 7Sportscave. Stay with us. Welcome back to the 7 Sports Cave. Got to give a little plug. This is, Devin, you made this, right?
Partner with Detroit or everything to try to get it out. I mean, it's a great shirt. And you look great, by the way. I know I said that earlier, but it's just looking really good, especially when you're standing up.
I want to hear that. Wah, 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 wah. Anyways, if you want to get your hands on a Revenge Tour shirt, you can follow Devin on Twitter. He's going to post a link to that so you guys can get those shirts out there and continue to wear them because the Revenge Tour will hopefully continue to go on. Michigan, it's for me, college football playoff or bust, Big Ten championship or bust at this point of the season, especially with Ohio State going down. But we got to move on. We got to talk about the Lions. Look, they had the bye week. They wanted to get healthy. They did so. Ziggy Ansah didn't play again. Hopefully, maybe he'll return with them at some point. But they're winning football games. I mean, look, this is a game that everyone looked at on the schedule and said, if they're a legit team, they go on the road and they win it. 4-2 Miami team. They did it today. What do you think?
They did. Look, they had more yards on the ground today than any game since 1997.
Woo!
When our man, of course, did it by himself.
Heard of him, Barry Sanders.
That's the name, exactly, of course. Yes, gotta love that guy. But they got a running game for the first time ever in Stafford's career, basically. So if they can run like that and keep him healthy, I'm not ready to drink the Kool-Aid yet. I'm too old for this. I've seen this too many times. But right now, the whole division is 3-3 or 4-2.
Exactly.
And they're right there. And look, you already beat Aaron Rodgers. You beat Tom Brady. I would have not have taken those bets after August. No way.
What's going on in the emotions of the players now because they had the bye week off, they come back to get a nice win, and you're looking at returning home here before the real challenges start?
I mean, I think it's amazing, and you should never apologize for winning, right? So they win by 1 point, 2 points, half a point. I don't think it's possible, but if that were to happen, I mean, you never apologize for winning. And they're, like you said, they're winning football games, and they just beat a pretty good team in Miami. And so I think they're excited, and I think that's something that we can look forward to. Obviously, like Mr. Bacon said, you don't drink the Kool-Aid just yet because, things can change. But I think we're doing really well. The running game's looking good. And I think you give Matthew Stafford a running game, and he can be the quarterback that we paid him to be.
6 home games left for the Lions, including the divisional opponents and those LA Rams, who seem to be setting the world on fire offensively. But if you can win most, if not all of those games, you have a couple of road games at Arizona, at Buffalo, that seem very winnable. Try to do what you can in the divisional games on the road. And we're looking at a Lions team that might
playoffs? We're talking about playoffs?
Fun fact, their ages together are about my age. And in that time, one playoff victory.
Young Guns?
Don't forget
Yes.
Don't forget that, Young Guns. I like the enthusiasm.
Bye.
But old man.
Barry. Actually, the playoff victory was in the year that I was born. 1991, right?
Gosh, you're young. You got so much of your life ahead of you.